Okay, I'm back. So I wanted to come back. I know I was kind of not filming anything for a while, and I barely posted another video from the point of this upload maybe a few days back. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about the reasons why I decided to switch my major from biochemistry to MCDB, and why it may be relevant to some of you guys that are going to be coming into school or who are already in school, just to give you some perspective on what it's like to be a pre-med student and the things you need to be thinking about if you want to pursue a career in the medical field. So let's get started. So to give you guys some perspective, I mentioned before that I am a pre-med student and I am ultimately going to be wanting to go into medical school. So it's important to understand, sorry, I'm just fixing the camera. It's important to understand what that means for someone who wants to pursue a career in medicine, and the major that you have to select in undergrad and what that means for the medical school application process. So generally, biochemistry is infamously known as being a very difficult major, and some of you, like me, may have chosen that major because you thought, oh, hey, it's biology and chemistry. I like those two subjects, why not put them together? When in reality, after taking a few courses and actually taking my first biochemistry course, I realized that the approach to biochemistry is a little bit different. I feel that biochemistry is definitely more an emphasis on the chemistry that applies to the biological processes. For example, things like the TCA cycle. You understand the chemistry behind it and why those things proceed as they do in our bodies and in other organic systems. So that's one thing that I learned while taking my classes this past year. That's another thing that I considered when ultimately thinking, okay, do I want to switch majors? So just being aware that the name of the major may not necessarily point to like the ultimate line of classes that you're going to be taking, because it's a whole different thing. It's how these sciences interact with each other. So that's one of the main things that I was considering. And another thing I was considering was just, you know, like I said, the fact that biochemistry is like infamously known as being like this difficult major. So as a med student, I'm sure you guys are aware that you have to have a pretty good GPA to get into medical school, just because all the applicants that are trying to get into these schools are gonna be just like you guys, brilliant, distinguished in their university, very set on a career in medicine. So naturally the applicant pool is gonna be very competitive, and that is something I came to realize, which is why I ultimately decided to switch my major. Something more biology focused, something that's gonna be not easy, but a little bit easier than biochemistry, just so I can ensure that my GPA is competitive during my application process. So as many of you know, I've been taking you with me throughout this journey, talking about like the classes I've been taking, what it's been like at UCLA, and just the structure of the science classes over there. And you guys know it's difficult. The quarter system, it's rough, it's very fast. You're just being constantly fed information that you have to memorize and be tested on every essentially 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm grateful because from what I hear from current medical students, that's what it is in medical school. It's like one put it yesterday, she said that it's like drinking water through a fire hose. So I mean, naturally that means a lot of information very quickly. So that's one thing to also consider when you're choosing your major and your school, but that's a conversation for another day. Speed, time management, making sure you're able to kind of internalize everything that you're gonna have to be learning and doing at this school that you're choosing and in this major. So that is another thing that was in my realm of things to consider when switching to this major. As far as other things that I think could be useful to consider is advising. So advising in the MCDB department is very focused on pre-med, just because most of the people there that are studying the major want to be a doctor or a biologist, or they want to pursue academia. So naturally the advising is great in MCDB. I worked with this advisor for maybe, I would say, about a year. She's been aware that I have been considering the switch to the major MCDB, and she's been helping me throughout the way, informing me of what classes I could take, graduation timelines and things like that, and ultimately being sure of what I want to do if MCDB is going to be my ultimate path to medical school. So as of this morning, I am now an MCDB major. It was definitely a lot to, take in and accept that I'm like switching over from this other major, because don't get me wrong, I really like biochemistry, I really like chemistry. It's just very difficult and challenging coursework, which granted I enjoy the challenge and being able to understand why all these things work. But looking at it through the lens of I want to be a doctor, I want to go to medical school, it wasn't the best thing for me. So this is why I'm making such a point on making sure that you guys really know what you want to do when you come to college. Do you want to pursue a career in academia? Do you want to pursue a career in medical school? Because that is something that's going to very heavily influence the major that you should be choosing to, go on this way. And from everything that I heard about biochemistry, people that were looking to go into medical school as biochem majors, they really told me that if I could take another major to do it, because it is not an easy path. Most people that are taking chemistry and biochemistry as their majors are pursuing careers in academia, pursuing careers in industry, things like medicinal chemistry, or working for big pharma and things like that. And ultimately, I think that's not what I'm going to want to do in the long run. In the long run, I want to pursue medicine. So that's why I switched. Besides that, I think those are the big things I feel like I had to cover when making this decision to switch over. Ultimately, my grades, my line of classes that I'm going to take, and the support and advising that I could find in the MCDB major. And from what I hear, my roommate also did the same thing. He switched from biochemistry to MCDB because he's also interested in medical school, and quite frankly didn't want to go through the difficult process that it is to try and apply to medical school as a biochem major. So yeah, it's a common thing. You go into college, you go into a major that you think is going to help you, and you realize that it might not necessarily be the right path for you and the ultimate career goals that you have. So that's kind of the end of the video. I just wanted to let you guys know what I'm doing academically. Currently, for those of you that saw my last video, I am in Phoenix right now, and I'm doing clinical research and hospital volunteering, and I'm very excited. Tomorrow I'm going to go into training for my hospital volunteering, and I'm going to start clinical research hours next week, and I'm very excited. So stay tuned for videos on that, maybe what to do during your summer as a pre-med student. But yeah, it was good talking with you guys. Just a little update on things that I have going on. Don't forget to like, share the video with people that you think might find it useful. Turn on the bell for notifications for when I post other videos, just so you can stay on top of things with me. Yeah, so good catching up. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.